No, this is the fourth single as Gang Starr, but this is the first single for me because this is when I joined the group. The previous Gang Starr members were Damo D-Ski, DJ Wanna Be Down, and Guru. And then prior to that was Big Suge, Suave D, which was Suge's brother as the DJ, and Guru. So it's been through 3 different stages. And then also there was Shab and Smitty, who Shab is from East New York, Brooklyn, but he moved to Boston. And they started Gang Starr Posse, which turned into Posse in Effects. So, you gotta, so you gotta know the change. But this is my first 12-inch single. And this is really a remix. The original version, the album version doesn't sound like this. The album version was me, Guru, and Slow-Mo Sonnenfeld on the drum machine. I wasn't really good at production yet. I knew how to make beats, but on the SP12, which is what we used, but we all were laying stuff together. So we would say if it was me, this is Slow-Mo, and Guru, we're like, he'll join it, and Slow-Mo. And so we're all making it together. I did the main root of the beats, but we all were together tapping stuff. That's why the production is a little different than 1990 when I started to do it all by myself. So, but the remix was because we were shooting a video. They felt like the owner, Stu Fine, thought that it was a little slow and needed more of a pickup. So we just remixed it a little bit, put some more extra horns in it. Yeah, and I raised the drums louder than the original and put some shakers on it, which the original didn't have, and sped it up a little bit, and here we are. My first baby. But no, we did the album first. Well, no, we did the single, then we did the album. But the album version came out first. I remember Marley Marl was the first one to play it, and I was all happy, like, Marley Marl's playing it. I remember Stu called and said Marley's going to play it, going to start the show with it, and I have that actual show on cassette tape. Yeah, so, you know what I'm saying? I was just happy as hell. Man, maybe you that was playing it, yeah. Yeah, he was DJing during On In Control. Yeah, so was you. Yep. Yeah, look at that. You rock played my record first on Marley Marl.
Yes. I was like, this is funky.
Guru used to go through all the demos that came through the label because it was a husband and wife label. They used to work out of their house, out of their apartment actually. And then when I was shopping my demo, I was with a crew called ICP. It was me, Top Ski, Sugar Pop, and Stylie T. And we had a dancer named HL Rock, who's still my homie to this day. And we made a demo, but Sugar Pop and Stylie T were our college friends, and they couldn't make it to New York. So Top was the most important part of my getting a record deal, but he gave up, waiting and being patient to get a deal because the label didn't really like his voice or his rhyme style. I kept pushing for him. They asked me to help out and work and be with Gang Starr, and I turned it down and said no. They even put us in the studio from Wild Pitch and put us in a studio to see if we could make a better demo of the one that we made, and they still weren't into Top. So I still refused to be in Gang Starr, and then maybe give or take a couple months, Top got frustrated with the how long it was taking, and he enlisted in the Navy, and we were actually living at Gordon's parents' house, so living in his basement, and all three of us, me, Top, and HL, and that's where I did my demos on the 4-track. And then from there, I remember when Top told me he was going to go to the military, I thought he was just talking a lot of shit. And then I remember I was there when the recruiting officer hit the doorbell, and I answered the door, and he's like, yeah, I'm looking for Theodore Campbell. And I'm like, for what? He says, he enlisted in the Navy. He's leaving today. And I'm like, yo, Top, you going to the Navy? Yeah, he goes, already had his bags packed. And he's like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm by myself now, and he's like, yo, I don't know. I can't do this rap shit. It's taking too long. I was like, how long you going to be enlist for? He said 4 years. I'm not going to wait 4 years. So hey yo, I'm available if you need me, and that's how I joined Gang Starr. And Guru also found Lord Finesse's demo tape. And those are the two demo tapes he liked, mine and Lord Finesse. And that we both signed around the same time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. At that time as a producer, I didn't have a contract yet. We did the song and I did it without a contract. And my parents were like, I went back to college in Texas and my parents were like, you need a contract. They could, they could jerk you around and this and that, and you already got a video. And, I was like, yeah, should I sign? And they were like, well, you should get a lawyer. And I remember I got a lawyer in Texas, and he said, this contract is bullshit. He said, if you sign this, you're signing your life away. But I was so excited to make a record, I said, and
we all did that.
Yeah, and signed my life away. And then later on, come to find out, I couldn't get out of the contract. And I, lost my temper and got a little violent. Me and Malachi the Nutcracker from Group Home and went up to the Wild Pitch offices and tore the place up, and I got sued, and I found me a lawyer who I'm still with to this day. He said, this is a tight contract, but let me try to find a loophole. He found one little loophole in it that got me out of the contract, and we got signed to Chrysalis Records, and once we met Branford Marcellus and Spike Lee, because we did the Mo Better Blues soundtrack, and then we got signed to Chrysalis in 1990, and that's when we just stepped in the arena.
And I would like to play a little tune I just composed.
Mo Better Blues, yeah. Spike saw the Words on Manifest video and said Guru looked a lot like Malcolm X, so that made him buy the album. He bought the album and heard jazz music. He was shooting Mo Better Blues at the same time. We finished it like in 3 days because we did it with a band and all of that type of stuff. But my initial track was the Kool and the Gang sample, and I brought that. We worked around that whole sample, and then when we came to shooting the video, Spike wanted a more simpler version. So I said, well, let's go back to the original way I looped it and take all the band stuff out. And because I really wanted that my version anyway, and I already had the boom, 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 boom. I already had that in there, and we just stripped it all back down to the original way I brought it to them to present it. And I was so happy because we got to do it to my version where, everybody got to be satisfied. The soundtrack version did what it did. Our version was for the video. I mean, it's what got us into the major label world. That was a new thing. Independent labels were running hip hop. It was the dominant thing. Majors were just starting to take a little chance on signing more hip hop. The Warner Brothers was one of the first when they did the deal with Cold Chillin' Records with Marley and everybody. We were like, wow, they're starting to pick up rap, and First Priority with all the Audio 2, MC Light. They were going to Atlantic, and we was like, wow, I hope one day we get a deal, and we got the Chrysalis. From there we got the deal, but then we turned in Just to Get a Rep as our first single, and they were like, this don't sound like jazz music, jazz thing, and we're like, I know that, this is what we are, and they were like, well, we signed y'all for jazz thing, we wanted more of that. So they thought we were going to be doing some skippity bebop, boop, 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 check out the trumpet player on every record, like Us Three and Diggable Planet and stuff like that. They thought that's what we were going to do. And we were like, nah, we do street music. So it was a little pushing and pulling, but after that, we released Just to Get a Rep. It did well for us. So from there, they just left us alone. We always got to pick our singles. We always picked our directors. We were always in charge. Oh yeah. We believed in what we were doing, so yeah, we were confident about the music. That's still, I'm like that now. I'm confident about the music. That's never the problem. It's just the promotion and the machine is, that blows it up. It only stays the records. I'm a DJ. I know when the record's right. Oh man, I was glad when that came out on vinyl. God damn. Hold it now. Yeah. I remember I remember, oh man, the first time I heard that record, they would bring the instrumental in and blend it. It's like, what the hell? But it had your bounce. I was like, I know that's Pete, but it didn't sound like nothing you'd ever done.
Yep.
Before.
This actually was my debut as a producer, like to kind of step my foot down to you know what I mean? And I was with Eddie F. He had a production team at the time, and a couple of us from the hood were producing together before we even formed the company. And then, we formed the company and everybody got to do, first we were doing remixes together, then I started, getting separate work, you know what I mean, for Def Jam. This was a major thing for me because it was a major rap label at the time, and Public Enemy was at the height of their career, and I was just coming up, and I just wanted to bust through with something, and this was it right here. Never met them, never talked to them. Just
you got that 2-inch tape though.
Exactly, and it happened because I used to work in the same studio that the producers for Public Enemy worked in. So, with that, and then they know of me working in there and hearing me do little stuff, and you know what I'm saying. So that's how that happened. No, it was I did shut them down in Green Street. Yeah, Green Street Recording Studio. That's where Ice Cube did America's Most Wanted. That's where Public Enemy recorded, like all their first stuff. And It Takes a Nation. Their first album, their second album, they recorded everything in Green Street. So that was a plus for me because I already was comfortable with that studio after working with in Chungking and a couple other studios that were around. That one right there was my most comfortable. I felt really comfortable working in there for some reason. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Because the beat, it was just different from anything that anybody's ever done. Because I felt I was past the baton from Marley Marl, and I just took it and ran. Just playing around in the basement and listening to stuff, and I heard a bass line that I was like, okay, let's try this one, and then started sampling the bass line, and then just playing with records and looking for sounds, and I would take every little sound that I heard that matched the tone of the bass line, I would just sample it, just put it in. So it was like it's like putting a puzzle together. So that's basically how I treated it. Yeah. After I started producing on my own, after our first meetings we had with major labels, trying to get a deal, doing an EP. We put out an EP called All Sold Out. Actually, we got signed off our basement demos, you know what I'm saying? And, from there, we just enhanced certain music in the studio because we had a little budget to where we could, just do what we wanted to do to make the music better. So, oh, man.
Yep.
Everybody's like the water drop beat.
This one right here, I made in my apartment. At the time, Guru wanted to sign 3 artists to Starr Productions. He said, you'll sign 3, and he'll sign 3. I didn't have any groups yet, so J. Rue and Group Home were friends of ours, and Big Suge was the originator of Starr. So Sugar just come out of jail, so he was still getting back into learning how to flow right and everything, dress right, the whole 9 yards, and out of the 3 demos that were going through, Lil Dap wasn't really rhyming yet. He was learning from just hanging around the house, and everybody's freestyling. We had a drum set that Branford Marcellus used to that had left in his house when we lived there. And me and Dap used to play the drums all the time. Taught him how to do the hi-hat and the kick and make it and do all of that. So we used to, out of everybody, J. Rue was the most polished as far as his demo and his voice. So, and I told Guru, let's start with him because he seems like he has more of a chance to blow with his voice style. And I remember he came to my apartment. I had just moved and to my own pad, and he came by the house. And I wanted to put more music to it, but I said, let's record it like this with just the Shelly. You might say Shelly Man. I got sued for it, so it's already out there. But the Shelly Man sample, I was gonna add music, some melodies to it, but I said let's record it stripped down just to get the vocals, and I'll add on top of that. But once I heard the way he spit, I was like, shit, I'm gonna leave it just like this. Dirty. And I remember we gave it to Funkmaster Flex, and he played it immediately. And I remember we used to go to this place called Tavern on the Green. They used to have a hip hop night back then. It was a nice ritzy place with chandeliers, really expensive, and they had hip hop night. And that's when we were Moet freaks. Then we getting there. And I remember Fat Joe pulled up in a burgundy MPV and walked up to me and goes, "You want a front what?" Jump up to get butt. He goes, "Man, whoever made that song is a bad motherfucker." And I thought he was just joking. I thought he knew that I did it. And I said, "Oh, thanks, man." And he goes, "Thanks." I said, "Yeah, I thought you were just complimenting for the record being, joking." He goes, "Wait a minute, you made that?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh my God, yo, oh my!" Fat Joe just started hugging me like, "Yo, that record is gonna run the streets this summer." And it was a big record for J. Rue, and it was a big record for the whole Gang Starr Foundation. So this was a major part of my life right here. And shout out to Patrick Moxie, my manager, whose label it was, Payday Records. He said, "Yo, I'll do a deal with you." Gave us not a lot of money, and everybody got to eat. Like a hornet, knuckleheads get live and set it off if you want it dirty. Rotten scoundrels is punching fools, no jokes for styles. No, I made it with J. Rue in mind. Yeah, I was thinking about him. That's what I do with every artist. I think about what style actually is. It's like a tailor. I could waddle my big ass into a suit spot, and a guy will look at you and go, "You know what? I know what suit goes with you. This color, you should wear this." Same thing with artists. I imagine what my style should be for that artist. That's how deep we think. And sometimes the artist doesn't get it, which is fine. Sometimes you're like, "Oh, come on, man." But they're the artists too, and if they don't get it, there's always another artist that will. So most of the time we hit it right on the first try. Most times. So with him, they were listening to what my direction was, and they never argued any of the direction. They all went with what I wanted from the gate, so they all learned.
Damn, nigga. Well, this song, of course, came out of being depressed at my man that died. And to this day, I don't even know how I found it and did it. I know how I found the record. Large Professor put me onto the record. But when I listened to the record, I heard the beginning, guitars, and I was like, "Oh, okay, Black Sheep used this." You know what I'm saying? But then I listened to the whole thing. Then I started hearing melodic stuff going on in my head. Like I was listening to the bass line. I was like, okay. I was listening to the hummings and singing and the harmonies in the background. And then the horns, I was hearing chops of the horn until that one loop came. And that wasn't even the first choice. I was fucking with other parts of the record. And then I said, let me go back to that horn. And I put that in, and then I was letting people hear it, and they was like, yo. And all right, let's try it. And then, we in there, and I had Busta.
Cry and dance.
Busta, yep. Busta Rhymes, Charlie Brown was in the session when I was mixing it, and when it touched their emotions, I started seeing them crying. That's when I knew this is gonna be some shit. You know what I mean? Because we were boo-hooing while we were listening to it. Yeah, the final mix of it.
Even the way even the interlude before.
Yeah. That was just because that was a favorite record of mine. I used to play that 45 as a kid. My pops used to play it a lot. And then I remembered it from when I was a kid. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Jazz and funk, it's reggae, it's classical. He was into everything. And he was hard-bodied with it. Records and the music being heard, being played constantly in my household, and, you know, just molding and shaping. He knew what he was doing. You know, he was trying to teach me about music. It got great. It got a great buzz when we put the EP out, because you know everybody was like, "Yo, who's these cats? The music sounds different. It's that new sound." And you know, then we followed up with the full-length album, which was Mecca and the Soul Brother, and then The Main Ingredient, and then we parted ways. Then we would just do stuff sporadically. You know, he's on Soul Survivor 1, Soul Survivor 2, and so forth. Instrumentals, he did a song. So, yeah. This was it. This is what defined me as a producer, this song right here. And it was like, it hit home for like a lot of people in the industry too. You know, it's just a good song. Yeah. Go on tour, you know, everything there, promotional tour, then the big tour. We toured with Naughty by Nature, TLC, Heavy D, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay.
That's my shit. That's my shiznit.
With this is when Jay-Z signed to Def Jam with Rockefeller, because they were an independent label too. With this, Jay has always told me the rhyme over the phone. Like, he'll be like, "Yo, I got this record. I want it to be called 1,000,001 Questions," and he'll do the rhyme over the phone, and he'll be like, "And I want it to attach to another song." And he's even on the phone going, "Motherfuckers can't rhyme no more. About crime no more." Like, on the phone, and I'm like, "Okay, I got it." And then I went there, and he was wrapping up his last 2 songs, which was mine and the one he was doing with Too Short. So they were in the D room, you know, I guess messing around in there. And I was in here putting together 1,000,001 Questions. The day he told me the rhyme over the phone, I just heard the Aaliyah, just 1 in a million, because I love that song. And that's when I got introduced to Timbaland, and I thought his production was just different and dope. And I really liked the video, the way she was dancing in it and doing all the little moves. So that just as a DJ, little things pop in our head, and that's just came in my head from the gate. So I always intended on doing that. So when Jay walked in and heard the million already in there, it just totally worked, you know what I'm saying? And I'm down, Jay is very fast. Boom, knocked it out. Went back in the room with Too Short. I did the Rhyme No More part, locked that up, told him to come back in the room. He said, "That's it." Went in the booth, banged it, gone. Went to mastering the next day, and got it mastered. And he said it was going to be the intro. He told me it was going to be the intro to my album, all that stuff. Jay is very calculated on how his album is going to go. Second album, first album with Def Jam, second album, which that one was considered a flop in Def Jam's eyes, but he had some good songs in there. Rap Game, Crack Game was dope.
In my lifetime?
Yeah, In My Lifetime, we have Volume 1, yeah.
The first one.
He had some joints on there, though. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, Unreasonable Doubt. No, Reasonable Doubt was we were all together then at D&D every day. It was me, Ski was there, Irv Gotti was there, Sean C and LV was there, Nobody was there. We were all there every day, you know what I'm saying? I was there when Biggie did Brooklyn's Finest, because the rooms were booked, and I let them borrow my room for that day and let them squeeze in. Yeah, Clark Kent was there, he did the beat. Yeah, so Reasonable Doubt was like a family album. Right? We were all there every day just knocking it out. I remember Jay was upset because they couldn't get Mary J. Blige to be in the video, because at that time Jay-Z wasn't popular enough to get Mary J. Mary J was already big on a major label, and they couldn't get her in the video, you know. So, and then Jay and them were known for paying you extra cash to try to get you on there, but Universal was like, no. MTA, you were the same thing. They were like, nope. Now he can get whoever he wants. You know what I'm saying? He can get the president in a video.
Put this on last night. Okay, I remember doing 3 things at once in the studio. Well, the Hit Factory used to be on 42nd Street, and I don't know. It was beats at that time. I had felt I was, mastering what I was doing. So, I was like working on one thing, and they gave me another room to start to start ideas in there, and I ended up. But I make all my beats at home before I even go in the studio, so I'm already ready. All I gotta do is lay down the beats and then scratches or whatever.
That's what I was doing back then.
And
always home first.
I was working on Das Effects remix, Jessamine. I was working on Down with the King, Run DMC, and then this remix, all at the same time. They had booked all the rooms in there. Yeah. And I was knocking remixes out in one night, so I would tell them, look, man, just send the stuff, and I'll get it done for you. You'll have it done by tomorrow. You know what I mean? And that's what I was doing, man. I was spending the night in the studio, no shower, no bath, just stink.
That's how you get funky.
Yeah. And ended up finishing three songs in 2 days.
Funky right now.
Yep. Yeah, I was young. I didn't care. I was just happy to be in that position. So once the shut them down hit, and then I started getting calls like crazy. Yeah, I did lots of remixes because once one remix worked, everybody wanted me to do the remixes, so I started doing that. But then I was doing production too, because I had a record deal and I was putting albums out with CL Smooth, so people wanted beats from me. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck that shit. Word.
Oh shit.
You first.
We gonna do a little something like this, you know what I'm saying? Keep it on.
Illmatic. Okay.
Let's slow. I guess I can say I went first after Large Professor, because I used to see Large Professor at Chung King a lot, and he was playing me stuff like one of the first records. I remember that I was there when he made One Time for Your Mind, and him and Nas were just being there, just bullshitting, just making just random stuff. And I was like, yo, that's gonna be on the album too, and they'd be like, nah, we're just messing around. And One Time for Your Mind was just a mess around song. And then I heard the original way that Large Professor did It Ain't Hard to Tell. And then I remember when he remixed it, which is really the remix version is the one that's on the album. Just that. I was like, I don't know about when he redid the Michael Jackson version. I mean, the Human Nature, but they had the original where they had the Human Nature playing all the way through, and then he did
the remix, yeah.
Then he did the remix, the Nas is the King of Disco, and because I remember they were talking about how Biz Markie said I'm highly recognized as the King of Disco, and it sounded like he's saying Nas, and they did that version too, but from there. I got with Nas. I remember he came to the studio and we did Represent first. That was the first one we recorded, but the version I did didn't make the album. It was a bass line version, like an upright bass. And then I swear to God, as soon as I heard Pete do The World Is Yours, which I was actually at his session too, at Battery, and watching later scratches and everything, I heard his version and went back to the studio to remix mine because I wanted to have the hottest beats on it. But like that's how much of a It was a competition, but also just respect, because it was like, wow, that sounds better than what I'm doing, and it was unique.
No, it was on the same level.
You know, but it was just, I'm really into just uniqueness, and he brought the uniqueness where it was just so different. I was like, damn, I can do better, because I really didn't feel like the version I had was up to that level, and I really, pride myself on being on the same level. So he brought a whole different spark to it, and then I did New York State of Mind already, but I knew that I had to do a third record, which was Memory Lane. Even Memory Lane, I didn't like the sample, the Ruben Wilson. I liked the sample, but I wanted all mine to be just really hardcore. And I was like, nah, we got to do something different to show something different. And I was like, all right, I'll do that. And then boom. The Represent that's on the album, it was the last version that I did to close out the album. Actually, Life's a Bitch was the last song on the album, because I went to that session to drop off the mix of Represent to let Nas hear it, and that's when I met his father, and he was in the studio, Chun King, doing the horns to Life's a Bitch and all of that. And I remember he kept saying, Pop, you gotta do more like this. And he goes, you want me to go down, or you want me to go way down? He goes, go way down. And I remember the last take he did is the one that's on the record. Like, I remember to that day, and that's when I met AZ and everything. The world is yours. I don't know what was on there. Had you heard any of the songs on the album besides that? No. You hadn't even heard my stuff yet, right?
Nope. Yeah. That happened from hanging in Queens. I used to hang in Queens, like in Jamaica and Flushing a lot. And I was hanging with like other rap artists, Drez from Black Sheep, Royal Flush, Mike Geronimo, you know what I'm saying? And we would go hang out in Queensbridge, go mess with Havoc and P, and Lord used to bring me all around. And he brought Nas up to my house. He's like, yo, I want to introduce you to my man. He brought him up, and I started playing beats for him. And then I went through a couple of discs, and then found they was already made already. I had found it and played it for him, and he was like, yo, that's the one. And then he was vibing to it for like an hour, and he was like, yo, Pete, I want you to sing this. And he started singing it to me, and I was like, nah, I don't want to sing on it. You know what I mean? I don't want to. He was like, nah, son, you know how they try to convince you all the time, yo, man, da, da, da. So that's what he did. He did a lot of, it took them a lot to get me on it to sing. He was like, yo, just do it like this. And he was singing it, whose world is this? The world is yours.
I remember when I heard the beat and I heard the break it down, break it down, break it down. I was like,
so I was really, really proud of it, because it actually made Premier go back and do better beats. So,
and I remember Nas, whenever he's coming up with his rhyme, he always covers his mouth and rhymes to himself. Speakers of blast, he's like, and you'll see him. Because if you cup your mouth like that, if music is playing in the background, you can actually hear yourself like if you're in your own room.
Circumference, right? But I was really happy the way the song came out. Everybody's reaction to it was like,
and to be at the session, like, I mean, I've never.
Yeah, he was there.
A lot of times producers are not at other people's sessions. We're like, no.
He was perfectly invited.
We hung out.
Premier,
Even the scratches on here, he did in one take. No.
Yep.
Punch in from there. He literally, I sat there, I watched him just keep cutting it. Hell yeah. Nas needs to do this again. The same people. It'll be a smash.
Yeah.
He will not
should
lose.
do it before it's too late.
Come on, Nas. What's up? We're ready, baby. We're charged. Got the batteries, man.
I'm over ready for that.
Yeah. You'll slaughter that record. Slaughter. He knows it. If he doesn't, just sit down with us, let's leave beats.
He would just anoint people with what we've been waiting for. A remake with we still make hot beats. You know, it should be done, and you're still out here spitting. So you should really be considering.
Our budgets are lower now.
Yeah, exactly. The game has changed.
Yeah. We got discount prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, you because you're excited because you already know lyrically he's gonna tear it up.
Well, I believe honestly, like he cannot actually have the idea of doing this album again without the guys who you know what I'm saying, without me or him. You can't do it without us. You know, I'm not saying he can't do it like, oh, you know, I'm saying like you gotta include us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it won't be the same without. People are gonna look for Premier Pete Rock on it. Oh no,
and somebody like Nas, it makes you want to go make it from scratch. You don't even want to play stuff you already have. You want
we go hard for him, like you know what I'm saying. It's like me, him. If we know we're gonna work with him and this is really gonna go down, then we in battle mode. We battling each other, like for real. You know what I mean? So I know he's gonna come with it. So I'm saying, damn, I gotta. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that much
and it's vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think he's gonna.
Yeah, we're waiting for it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do it. Oh boy, I don't even want to talk about that. Well, remember when you had spoke about sharing ideas? That's what we all did back in the days, and you know, that's how this happened. When Big came over, he heard me playing with the drums to the M2 record, Juicy Fruit, and next thing you know, Puff was there, everybody was there, and at first Biggie didn't like it. He didn't even. But Puffy was like, yo, he pulled him to the corner. Was like, yo, I'm telling you, blah blah blah. All this happened in my house. You know what I'm saying? So when I watched the movie and saw that part, I was just like, oh wow, this is funny. But then again, you know, it was just a part of people hearing the idea and just running with it. You know what I'm saying? You know, it happened. It happens. So I had it because he had asked me, yo, is that a CL Smooth joint? And I was like, nah. You know what I'm saying? And then he asked me to make a beat in front of him, like live. He wanted to see me make a beat. So then I did this song called In the Flesh on the Main Ingredient album. And he was blown back and amazed. You know what I'm saying? Because I used the EPMD drums, your customer. Yeah. And just because, you know, that was the record was right on the turntable. So I was like, let me flip these drums. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, it came out the way it did. He was right there, you know, for the whole thing. You know, great experience, you know, like him being in my hood, coming to, you know, taking him around. You know what I'm saying?
And he wasn't even popular yet. I mean, he was popular. He was starting to get popular, but he wasn't big.
Like he wasn't. Yeah. That was his first comings right here. So his first album.
And then the B-side, the album had actually been turned in, already ready to go, and he called me, and this is when I was charging, you know, a decent fee of money, you know, and the checks were good. And Big called me and was like, yo, man, I got $5,000. Will you do this song for me? And I was like, Big, I don't have time. And it wasn't even to be disrespectful. It was just I really didn't have time with the schedule I had because we were recording another Gangsta album. So during that time, I was like, yo, you know, I would squeeze it in, but I can't. He goes, please, man, I need this. I just need that gutter record. And I was like, man, you know what? And he goes, he said, I don't care if you even impeach the president, just do something. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna take those drums and I'm gonna chop them up. And you gotta meet me in the studio right now. And he said, I'm on my way. He came down, and I just remember all I had was just a Biggie Smalls, Biggie Smalls. And that's all I had. And I just kept hitting that. And I didn't really like the samples. They were just, I call them stabs. Yeah, I just pitched them, put them on different paths. Bing, 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 bing. And I just kept going, dun, 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 dun. And I was like, I didn't like it, and Big walked in and said, yo, that's it. He said, but switch it around and make it do all kinds of little things. So, yeah, and so then I took the patterns, changed it around a little bit. He said, yeah, I like it like that. And he probably was there for maybe like 7-8 hours, not doing nothing but smoking blunts and drinking. And I'm just like, you know, I hope he's gonna do this, man, because I'm ready to go home. And he was like, yo, I got something already. And he did. That's when I noticed he never wrote rhymes down, because I had never worked with him. All the songs I'd heard from him do, I was never in the studio. So to see him not come with any paper, no nothing, and just go in the booth and just lay it, I was like, okay. And then right when he was leaving, he said, yo, the R. Kelly record, Your Body's Calling, cut that Unbelievable on there. And I was like, ooh.
Oh, he gave you
Yeah. And I was like, you should. That might not be in key. I said, but I'll try it. I said, I'll give it to you tomorrow. And the next day I went and got the record, tried it.
Big the producer. Let me find out.
And it came out dope, you know what I'm saying? It happened to, the chorus, it just happened to match exactly, you know, key-wise, you know, with the proper EQ and everything. And then there it was. And then I remember me and Gordon were driving back to Brooklyn, not even 2 days later. And we're driving, we're going through Center Street, you know, cutting through the courthouse, while the courthouses are, to get on the Brooklyn Bridge. And this dude rolls up, and he's got his windows down, and he's blasting it, unbelievable. And everybody knew Big was always giving everybody a copy of his stuff way before it was out. And Puff used to get mad because that was when kind of the leaking of hip hop records was a new thing, you know, the bootlegging and everything. So, you know, that's when Puff started to really protect all the music. And so we're even wondering, like, how is this on the, you know, this guy playing it already, and it's only been 2 days. And we roll up to him trying to catch him, and, you know, we can't catch the guy, but I'm just like, I gotta find out, maybe it's one of Biggie's friends or whatever. And then we finally get to a stoplight, and we side by side, hey, yo, where you get that from? You know, and he goes, it's on the radio. We're like, on the radio. We turn the radio, and Funkmaster Flex is playing it. He had a acetate, you know what I'm saying? They had just mastered it, they had factory, and made a dub plate of it, and he was playing the actual dub plate. So that's when I was like, oh man, they pushing it like that. Then all of a sudden, Unbelievable took off in the streets, and then I saw the video to Juicy, and then the 12-inch came out, and this is my first gold single.
And one of my first big remixes.
P-Rock Soul Brother #1. Jamie Styles. Well, I'll be honest. At that time, I was all about getting those big checks, and he, you know, 5,000. I was like, come on, man, I'm making 25,000. So I didn't think it was worth it. But I liked Big because we were already friends. Because I lived in his neighborhood in Bed-Stuy at the time. I lived in Clinton Hills, which is part of Fort Greene area, and we used to hang out a lot. You know, all the time we'd hang out. So I can't really tell Big no. So I was like, all right, I'll do it for 5,000. But I remember when he went platinum, he said, next album I'll pay you whatever you want. And he paid me what I wanted. He gave me 30,000. So hey,
that's what's up.
Big looked
That joint with,
our first gold single.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to B.I.G.
Rest in peace to the B.
This one, which, you know, the original was dope with Special Ed, Master Ace, and Buckshot. Spike was that was after the Crooklyn movie, and then he did Clockers. And Spike and I already had a good relationship through the Mobile Blues and jazz thing and everything. So he asked me to do this one, and he said I want Chubb Rock. J. Rue was really hot at the time, so he said I want, you know, he really would love. He like Jay-Z, he loves Brooklyn artists. So he's like, yo, I want J. Rue and OC and Chubb Rock. Then I remember just doing the beat, and I remember Chubb Rock came down, and Chubb Rock is very funny. Like he's like, oh, G, I'm gonna tear this up, G. He goes, I already got something for it, G. You know, and he wrote it up, made it right down the spot, laid the first verse because he had to catch a flight, and he was like, I'll lay it. And then OC didn't come to the next day, and he laid his, and then J. Rue came with OC, and just nailed it.
And I felt his piano obliterated mine. The World Is Yours. That on the hip hop beat, hardcore side, I felt he came over.
And I honestly didn't think that Spike would get it because it was slower but we saw the trailer for Clockers first, so we already saw what the footage was like, and I just said it sounded more sad because it showed the little kid laying it out and everything that like in the movie and stuff. So I was like, it doesn't have to be as like the first one was so dope and you could dance to it, and the tempo was ill, but this one I was like, yo, I gotta keep it just like this, and we gave it to Spike, and we didn't hear from him for like 2 days, and he kept calling, is it done, 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 is it ready, is it ready, and I'm like, yeah, tomorrow, and then all of a sudden we don't hear from him for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden he called and says, I love it, because he was in editing for the movie, so he was really, really caught up, but he was like, yo, we're doing a video in 3 days. Like, all right. Damn. Went over to the projects, shot the video. Everybody came out. It was packed. I mean, there was people everywhere.
Come on,
yeah, man. I remember. All I remember is OC. Every time he was doing his part, when he going Brooklyn, traveled long distance to party. The whole crowd was going Brooklyn, and he was like, you don't know. They were, you better ask somebody. And everybody on Clockers t-shirts. We all wore Clockers t-shirts, and
because he's originally from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, and then also Master Ace was there because the part when I cut we did it like that, and now we do it like this. At the beginning, so he was there, and then also I'll never forget on Chubb Rock when they were going white ticket and sell all the on the corner of the Bed-Stuy, just die, nigga. They, even after he still rhyming, everybody's going die, nigga, die, nigga, die, nigga. It's time like
get high.
It was just funny,
just feel.
Yeah, we
like back like Emmett's Till.
That shit was dope.
Emmett's Till.
Classic record, man. Shout to Spike.
Emmett's Till.
Right. The bell is actually in the sample.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't even take it out.
Young Hope.
It's in the sample.
And I was like, no, I had this album. I had this for so long. It's just sitting in my crib. And I'm like, I didn't know he used that. But then, you know how you looking through your records to make beats, and then you just, okay, let me fuck with this. And then you put the needle down, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah. I've done that before. And that's the same record for Group Home, Up Against the Wall, the Getaway Car version.
Yeah, I flipped that shit too.
The first one was from the movie Crooklyn. That's Clockers. Yeah. That's when Biggie came out, was ready to die, so Brooklyn, just hip-hop period was popping.
In the 90s, it was on high level, like hip-hop music. Okay. We got the jazz. Well, this is basically something that I made. Made the beat, Tip came over, he heard the beat, he liked it, he saw the record sitting there like this, and he was like, oh, word, and then boom, next thing you know, it's out. And that's how it happened. He has another story to it, but I don't remember making a song or wanting to make a song called The Beat Man. I don't remember that. Me, him, and Large were supposed to get together. He tells a story that me, him, and Large were supposed to get together to do a song called The Beat Man. On this mixtape, I heard it, and I was like, but it didn't really happen that way. But at the same time, I'm glad it did happen because it's a great record. They killed it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's, I don't really like telling the story because people a little sensitive about it, so I don't say much, you know what I mean? But, it is what it is, man. I can say I made this, you know what I mean? Yeah. But you don't see my name on the credit, you know what I'm saying? Hey, pull the puffy on me. Yeah. No, I was in my house in the basement, and he used to always come over. And we used to, I used to go to Queens, I used to come to Mount Vernon, And he came to Mount Vernon, and I had that beat playing, and he liked it. And we ended up swapping, and it was supposed to have been a swap for something, but he never swapped nothing back with me, not a verse, nothing. So
I wasn't there.
Big L, rest in peace.
Very, 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 one of my favorite records ever. We were, on hiatus between the Owners album and coming off the Rage Against the Machine tour, opening up for them. And it's just crazy because we were about to go on that tour, and the label was like, before you do your next album, we think y'all should put out, y'all have so many, classic records, y'all should put out the greatest hits. And I was like, the greatest hits? I'm like, dang, y'all acting like we too old to, I was really upset about it. I remember, I'll never forget the phone call with the label, and and then we had a good staff because Moment of Truth had just gone gold in '98, and we had a successful tour with Smoking Grooves, with Public Enemy, and Busta and the whole Flip Mode squad. Black Eyed Peas were unknown yet. They were just opening with just a small little band and doing all these crazy jazzy dance steps and spinning in the night with nice clothes on. And Maya was on the tour, and Wyclef and it was on tour. Right before we went on that tour with Rage Against the Machine, they were like, well, this album could come out just like this because we can compile everything. I said, well, let me compile the songs I think. Well, they gave me a list of what they wanted. I told them, yes, no, whatever. I said, and I just remember when Groove said, got the lyrical full clip from my Steve, because we didn't want to call it Gang Starr's Greatest Hits, and hip hop groups weren't putting out Greatest Hits albums, so I was like, let's call it full clip, 10 years of Gang Starr, and then Groove was like, no, let's call it a decade of Gang Starr, and I was like, all right, so then that's why we pieced it together, full clip, a decade of Gang Starr, and then the label was like, we want to do 3 new records, and we'll shoot 2 videos. And so we were like, oh, word. So the day that we were going to go do full clip, because we wanted to have one we always do a song that's a title to the album. And that was Valentine's Day. And I remember with a friend of mine and my phone, I was actually having sex. Literally. And my phone, that's when we used to have pages. And I'm having sex. I'm having sex, doing my thing, and all my phones are ringing. My cell phone, my home phone, my beeper, over and over and over and over and over. Like, I'm trying to finish, and I'm like, what the hell is all, what's going on? But you could tell there was something wrong. And then I finished and grabbed all the phones, and I see all these just mad phone calls, and I called back Lazy Lays, the manager for MOP, and I was like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, man, you hear Big L died? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, Big L died. And I was like, nah, let me call Showbiz or Lord Finesse. And I called Lord Finesse, and he was like, his girlfriend answered the phone and was like, oh, he's asleep, Premier. He's in bed. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, he would have known, you know what I'm saying? And I said, yeah, I heard Big L died, so if he's in bed, I know everything's cool. She said, no, it's true. She said, he doesn't want to talk to anybody. He went to bed early. They drove by and saw the body out in Harlem, still covered with a sheet. Him and Showbiz. I was like, what? And I was like, devastated. I called Showbiz. He said, yeah, man, we drove by because we were in the area. We heard, where he got killed near where he lived, a couple blocks away from where he lived at. And then they said the body was still out there on the street, covered with a sheet. And I was like, so we had already done the beat to full clip. And I said, you know what? Being this is going to be our first video, and we were going to shoot the video that week, I said, I'm going to put Big L, rest in peace, because nobody was going to have a record coming out that soon. So I was like, we're going to be the first ones with a new record out. I can do it, yeah. And I did it purposely because I said, I know DJs are going to cut that up. Yeah, this is very, very important to them. And unfortunately now I got to do it about Guru as well. It's just strange, you know what I'm saying? I have to say rest in peace to him, but it is what it is. Yeah, the good thing too is that album went gold in 28 days. And I thought about EPMD when they said 30 days later the LP went gold. And I remember when we went to go to Virgin Records in LA to go to some we had some business meetings to go to before we went on the tour. and some promotion to do. And I never forget, we walked into LA, in LA offices, and the whole staff was in the conference room having a meeting. And we walked in, and everybody just stood up and started going. Man, everybody stood up, me and Guru were like, what the hell? What y'all clapping about? When we turn around, they walk in with the big gold plaques, and we were like, and they looked like platinum plaques because they were silver like the album, and they were just really well constructed. Like I think it's one of the most unique plaques ever done in making plaques, and just to have gone gold that quick and less than on a month, we were like, wow.
I got my copy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And when they walked in with them, and we were just so happy because Moment of Truth was our first gold, so we were so excited about that. And then to get another one, not even a year later, we were just like, man.
Yep.
First peek in the basement.
You know what I'm saying? Main ingredient was like the step up from Mecca and the Soul Brothers. It was you can hear us getting older, not in a way where we're like, but the music got more mature, you know what I'm saying? And it was like more people kind of flocked to this one because this was like the first real album, The first one was our debut. It was hip hop. You expect the young adrenaline pumping. Now this one is like etched in stone. Like this is it. We here, And this album was basically one of those albums that's like. It was. Yeah, it was. We made it. I think we finished it in like a month or a month and a half, or 2 months. Yeah, 2 or 3 months. That's the Akai.
You ever run that shit? That's how you run your...
Yeah, this was all I had. The 950, the Akai, the SP, and the Rhodes.
Wow.
See the mic stand. And in the basement, this is where Brand Nubian, all of them came, and he used to be right there. So, spinning. Look how big it is. It's like the boiler room. We had so much room down here. Equipment, all the records and equipment was like back this way. So yeah, this was memorable. I'm sure where Big was standing right there. So while I was making the beat.
Yeah,
see the drum machine is right here.
That's how Big was too. Yeah, he always liked to
stand against the wall.
He liked to watch you make the beat.
Yep.
Yeah, he'd just sit there right across from you and just stare at you.
Yep.
The one eye would go
going that way. I used to be looking at him like, you looking at me?
Yeah, the lazy eye. So.
Yeah, but this was like one of our most important. As Pete Rock and CL Smooth as a group, this album was very important. And these were Gem Sounds. You remember Gem Sounds?
Yeah, I remember Gem Sounds. I used to use my boombox.
I used to have
the one. That picture that's on my laptop, the one I'm holding. I made all the shits on that one box. That's Sony radio.
Yep.
Finally died on me.
And then like the album didn't go gold back when it came out, right? I think it did like 350, and then we found out that maybe years later that both albums went gold, Mecca and the Soul Brother and this. So only thing is I gotta find out how to retrieve it so I can have it in my crib, you know what I mean? But yeah, so this was a fun album to make, and I had a blast doing it, man, because it was like, here we go again after Mecca and the Soul Brother, and I just felt like doing it forever and ever. Yeah, this was it.
Those dope shots too.
Yeah.
The paper and the
see how the shit was just thrown around.
Yeah, the shit on my place now.
Yeah, milk crates. Not now. No, bookshelves now. IKEA has bookshelves they sell that I use them to put records in. And it's perfect fit. Like perfect fit. So
same way. I mean, now, I have keyboards and, other rack mount stuff, but I mean, same way. I'm using the same equipment, and I'll have a limited amount of sample time, so the creativity, the less sample time you have, the more you're forced to make something ill out of that little bit of sample time. You have people now that have, you know, almost an hour worth sample time. They can put a whole album on and let it play before it can loop it. When you're just limited to that little bit, it's like, damn, how can I make this ill? And that's where your brain starts to just kick in, like, I'm gonna chop this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And
this is how long I've been standing up. Like, these chairs were only chairs. We only sat in the chairs when like 10 beats was made and we wanted to sit back and just listen to them. But I always stand up when I'm DJing, when I'm making beats. And like the chairs are there. It's one chair here, one chair here. But we only sat in them when, you know, I did a good 10, 15 beats. And, you know, I used to go hard because I loved it. You know what I'm saying? So I used to just sit back and like, wow, let me listen to what I did, you know. And then have everybody bugging, all right, everybody come downstairs, listen to beats. And then, yo, use that. Nah, don't use that. Use that. Yo, what's the name should get on this? You know what I'm saying? That's how I used to get the ideas.
yeah.
Rappers, you know, shit.
Oh yeah. Same thing with Gangstar. Every album, Guru always gave me the titles to every song before I made the beats.
Yeah.
So I just put the list on the wall and just look at, and he always knew which ones were going to be singles. He'll be like, Mass Appeal's going to be a single, Cold in the Street's going to be a single, and Cold in the Street